Is she here?
With permission, Judge, we told them to move ahead.
All right.
Okay.
If it's
She's
okay
got too
with the
busy.
court.
I spoke with her and she said it's okay for us to approach on that video, so I apologize for that.
All right, Judge, and just to distinguish where we're at, this was not an alcohol event at all. He's been.
I don't know that. How do I know that?
It reads.
I know that.
A tense hearing comes to the clinic as the judge uncovers the hard truth about the defendant's monitoring device. Is there a limit to the fight against therapy? Tune in to witness the moment the decision is made, regardless.
What in these instances, what happens is someone puts something in between the leg and in between the device to be able to subvert any kind of reading. That's what happens. So when you see something where there's no contact with the skin for a certain period of time, here it's 2 days, there's no contact.
And that's exactly why we're here, Judge. I showed the prosecutor his leg, and we've been having issues with his whole entire leg is completely chewed up because of this device. It is.
But the solution is you come to court, you say, hey, I need to switch it to another leg. You don't just on your own initiative start sticking a piece of paper or a towel or something in there.
Judge, I get it. I mean, just there's a tamper event doesn't mean it was intentionally done. And he's on GPS and he's
There's
on.
no way for us to know.
I agree.
All I know is that it broke contact with the skin for 2 days.
I agree.
Come up. I appreciate your tenacity, Mr. Leeper, but he has a DWI. He's got an FSRA where we have a dead body. He's not one violation. We're now working on our second to third violation, and now you're putting something, or I don't even know, but all I know is that the device lost contact with your leg 2 days. That is unacceptable. When you have issues with a monitor, you bring it to your lawyer's attention, you come to court and you say, look, this is what's happening. You don't put something in there in hopes that we're not going to notice. And now you tell your lawyer after the fact, I'm sorry, Mr. Lee, but what choice do I have but to revoke his bond again? I know that it's upsetting, but no, I have a very serious case with you. You've been ordered not, you know that there is no tolerance in this case, yet you lost contact for 2 days. I'm revoking your bond. Go to jail. Sorry. Mr. Leeper, I mean, I don't know. Judge, I'm not getting through.
Well, this is the other side of it too. He can't switch legs. He's got a GPS on his other one. He should have. I agree with you, this court. I agree with it, but we're gonna have to change something, or even move him to like a full-time portable blow, because it's not an alcohol issue, Judge. And he obviously made the mistake. But
I don't know that, right? Until you come here and tell me, I don't know. The only thing I know is we have a DWI, we've got an FSRA, we've got a dead body, and I've got multiple violations. And now you're hiding, you're doing something 2 days that I don't know about? You know what the proper procedure is when there's an issue. And you're just not doing it. You do what you want to do. That's not the way it works. And now you go to jail. Goes with you. I'm sorry, Mr. Leeper. I can't continue to justify it.
Fine, Judge.
He does bond out. We'll craft a different solution. I'm all ears, but I'm not going to let him continue to subvert.
What's his bond set?
10,002. It doesn't make me happy, but I have to let him know that I'm serious. When you go 2 days, you don't have it. You've lost contact. I don't know what he's doing in 2 days.
This is the thing that frustrates me about these devices. He doesn't know he's lost contact. That's the whole. We don't get an alert saying that he's lost contact. He didn't know until this thing came in, and so it's on his leg. He's showing up to work. He's back home on time.
The device is snug to your skin. It's literally, it has to have constant contact with your skin. So for it to lose contact with your skin, there's something in between it, or they've done something to it. They've loosened it to where it's lost contact. They've put something in there. That's why it's impossible for us to know. The only thing that we do know is that it lost contact and it lost it for 2 days. If it was our first rodeo, if it was our first, I always give someone the benefit of the doubt. But here we are over and over and over. And I've admonished him the last time, if you ever have any problems, you come to us. You don't do things on your own.
Thank you, Jeff.
I'm sorry, Mr. Lister. So look, he'll end up bonding out. When he does, come back and we'll talk about it and we'll figure some solution out. My only issue is that if I give him a portable device, is he's going to start skipping blows? That's why we had the scram. But I'm willing to give him an opportunity to let the leg heal, give him a portable device.
Keep him on GPS and keep him on curfew hours.
Same thing, but I'm telling you, if I start seeing skipped blows, we'll have an issue. Good morning, Mr. Cooley. Mr. Cooley, you're charged with possession of marijuana. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present if you cannot afford.
A seemingly simple marijuana possession hearing turns tense as the judge reads the charges and issues a stern warning about driving without a license. Does the defendant truly understand the severity of the law?
One will be appointed to you, sir. Yes, sir.
On February 21st, 2025, an officer observed a white Nissan Sentra without a front license plate. A traffic stop was initiated. The officer made contact with the defendant driver. The officer observed the odor of marijuana. The defendant admitted to having a cigar blunt with marijuana inside the vehicle. A probable cause search was conducted. The officer observed an electronic scale in the front driver's side door panel, a full cigar with marijuana inside tucked near the passenger seat and center console, and a large plastic bag containing approximately 1.06 ounces of marijuana on the passenger floorboard. The officer found a box of sandwich-sized Ziploc bags and one separate Ziploc bag containing marijuana residue. The defendant was identified with his Louisiana ID.
Can you run him to see if he has a Texas driver license, please?
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Cooley, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. The only condition I'm putting on you at this time is you are not allowed to drive unless you have a valid Texas driver license and liability insurance in your name. Do you understand?
Sir.
If you do not have either, then you are not allowed to drive, and I'm making that a condition of your bond. If I find that you do, then I will put you in jail. Do you understand? Do you have the ability to hire a lawyer, or would you like to apply for a court-appointed lawyer? I need you to fill out an application for me to see whether you qualify. So Deputy Echigoin is going to give you an application. I'll have you fill it out. I'll take a look at it. Do not leave until you sign our bond conditions, though. Do you understand?
So nothing is copied.
So you do not have you don't have a Texas driver license. You're not allowed to drive. This is an affidavit that you're going to be signing with me today. I don't care what's going on in your life, Mr. Cooley. I don't care that you have to go to work. I don't care that the baby has to go to the hospital. If you don't have a license and insurance, do not drive. Do you understand? If you want to drive, go get a license, get liability insurance, and I will scream with joy taking this off for you. But until that point, don't. All right, I'm going to have you swear to us that you're not going to drive. I'll get you to Victoria for your sign your reset, and then Deputy Echigoin will give you an application. All right, please.
An officer observed a white Nissan Sentra without a front license plate. A traffic stop was initiated. The officer made contact with the defendant driver. The officer observed the odor of marijuana. The defendant admitted to having a cigar blunt with marijuana inside the vehicle. A probable cause search was conducted. The officer observed an electronic scale in the front driver door panel, a full cigar with marijuana inside.
I get an argument, Judge.
Approximately 0.016 ounces of marijuana.
You ready for it? All right, Judge. So in Texas, we can't distinguish between hemp and marijuana. The only thing that distinguishes it is the concentration of THC in the substance. We don't have a lab report. He could easily have said, hey, it's marijuana, thinking it's marijuana, but if it's hemp, it's not illegal to have it. He could be under a mistake of fact or a mistake of law. So he doesn't know. He didn't give him, hey, here's a lab report of the substance that's in there. They don't have a lab report. They can't tell me if that's marijuana or if it's hemp, which is legal. It could be either one of those substances.
I think that there's probably a totality of circumstances, and not to mention the admission, that makes it enough for probable cause to go forward. Now, if the lab report comes back and there's something different, okay. But for probable cause purposes, I think that there's enough to go forward.
Without the lab, just being clear, we don't have a lab at this time.
I think that there's enough to go forward.
Understood. Thank you, Judge. All right, have a seat, Mr. Cooley. I'm going to bring another client out for PC in a moment. I'll let.
So it looks like you have a fugitive case. Oh, you picked up 3 cases. You picked up a fraudulent use of ID, less than 5 items. You picked up a theft case, and you have an out-of-state fugitive case.
One of them has been dismissed, Judge. The fraudulent use of items has been dismissed. So technically, he's only got the theft pending and the fugitive case pending.
Mr. Kim, enlighten us.
Your Honor, this defendant is wanted out of Broward County, Florida for felony theft. The state would be opposed to a bond there are 47 cycles of criminal history.
A man is arrested for violating a no-contact order. But what's the story behind it? Will compassion triumph over the severity of the law, or will the judge deliver a lesson for life?
In the past 5 years alone, and these are just convictions.
47 pages of criminal history in 5 years?
47 cycles, Your Honor. For pages, it is 46 pages of criminal history, including, well, the California one's old, so I'm not going to count that one. But just in the last 5 years alone, and these are just.
They were not 47 in the last 5 years.
Hey, don't talk. We're just trying to, the thing is, Mr. Jones, is I have a very limited amount of time to try to get to know you. Everyone that comes in front of me tells me it's gumdrops and rainbows and little bunnies jumping in the woods. But the way I really get to know you is the paper, because that tells me who you are, right? If you're a dangerous person, if you're a person that I'm going to let go and you're going to continue with the criminality, I have enough trouble sleeping as it is. I don't want more blood on my hands. I don't want something else that's going to keep me up at night. So that's why. Well, but this is how we get to know you. And he's telling me you got 46 pages of criminal history.
Your Honor, in the past 2 years, he's had 3 failure to appears of multiple cases. He's had 2 habitation trespass convictions, a DWLI, prostitution, battery, criminal damage, failure to appear, possession of drugs, felony, obviously, resisting. But in the 21 some odd years, it's the 47 cycles of different offenses, and I just stopped scrolling after 2020.
How many failure to appears do we have?
3, Your Honor. And this one itself is a no-show, or according to the transmission.
Hey, John, could I say something?
Sure.
Okay, with the one he talking about with the failure to appear, I feel that was nonsense because of the simple fact that I flew from Fort Lauderdale up here after they said I had a warrant, and I went to court a couple of days before that. And is that documented, sir? You can see that.
Judge, I will say this, he did explain that
How
to
old are you,
me.
Mr. Jones?
I'm 40 years old, sir.
You're 40.
Yes, sir.
How many cases has he picked up in total?
He's been charged with. If you give me 10 minutes, I can count them, but it's not low. I can start from 2004.
So theoretically, for every year you've been born, you've had a case.
I have a
You're
question.
40 years old, and
sir.
you have around 46 pages of criminal history. So literally for every year you've been born, you've like picked up a case. And not only that, you've got multiple failures to it. Huh?
You don't think the jurisdiction don't felt me?
But the problem is, at some point, your actions become your own. You now have with us, you've picked up a theft case here in Harris County. You've got an open case in another jurisdiction. You've got pages upon pages. So at what point is it on you?
When you pay your debt to society, why do they keep using it against you? I pay my debt to society for
Because
those
it continues.
hires. Okay.
Continues to happen. At some point, DAs are like, jail just doesn't work anymore. So that's when we got to go to prison, because this dude.
But prison don't help guys. That don't make them better. That makes them worse. Instead of tormenting them and sending them and feeding them to the wolves, you got to sit down with that person to find out what's going on to help that person. Instead of prison not helping nobody, prison is not.
I can't tell you how many stories I have read of people who get degrees, college degrees, even become a lawyer while they're in prison. So if you want it to help, then it will. But you got to want it. If you have,
The sad thing about it is, in the state of Florida with me, and that's why I left. Something happened, and I have a conflict of interest against the police. So now they're juggling at me every chance that they get. But it's crazy. He's saying I have a warrant, and I flew from there after that warrant was processed that they said I have. I flew from Fort Lauderdale all the way to Houston, flew back down there, and flew back. And they said I have a warrant, and I flew and went to court for another charge down there.
I don't get it. I don't know how that happened, but it's not supposed to.
So who's the system failing? If I have a warrant, you mean to tell me they're gonna let me in their courtroom, attend to my judge, see my judge, everything, and let me go, and let me get back on the plane to fly back here? Mind you, I flew from here and flew back down there. They let me do all of this with a warrant?
I can't explain that. I can't.
So that's the system failing somewhere, somehow. That's not me.
Let me talk to the judge real fast.
But Mr. Jones, if you have this woe is me attitude,
It's not helping. Y'all not helping society. Y'all always blaming me and this and that and the other. Prime example, he's saying, oh, he got prices from here. And he went to call stuff off that he said, well, only stopping from 2022 and he going past 2022. And I'm like, yo, but hey, but that's what the prosecutor do. He just doing his job.
right, that's what he's doing.
Judge, if I may, a couple of points. First, if he's finished up the cases that he has had in his history, okay, he's had a history. If he's paid his debt to society, he says, if he's completed what he needs to do for those cases, that really shouldn't be relevant here. I would argue that in front of you, this is his first time being in front of you, right? And it looks bad that he has criminal history. Yes, I get that. But if we were to just focus on whether or not he knew about this case, he's telling me he got on a flight, came over here, and it's a great question. If that happened, he would have had a warrant pending and he would have been arrested.
When
So
was the warrant issued, do you know?
March 3rd, 2025, but because it's a domestic flight, and obviously I don't work for TSA, I don't work for Department of Homeland Security.
Just got issued.
just March 3rd, 2025, Judge.
Your warrant was just issued in March of this year. So
And I
days ago, it got issued.
And I flew March 10th back up here.
So Judge, if that's the case, it hasn't been like he's been missing his responsibilities with
And
this
I went to
case.
court. And
It's less than a month.
And you can
that
also
he's had
see
this
that I went to
benefit.
court.
That's why it's a failure to appear, which is.
How? I went to court. I went to court before then.
Judge, the warrant has
I was
been
in the
issued
courtroom.
we're at April 1st, less than a month. And so it's not like he's been running. If the warrant's just been issued on March 3rd, I would ask that we afford this man an opportunity to make this right. He hasn't messed up in your eyes. Yeah, he's messed up in the past, but as far as the fugitive case is concerned, I'm asking for an opportunity for him to go to the demanding jurisdiction. And then if he messes up, okay, well, I don't have much to say after that. But just throwing his history out there, it doesn't mean he doesn't deserve a chance.
I stand by the no bond. He has assaultive history as well, and it shows in the message that we received from Florida is that he has violent tendencies, the assaultive history, along with and I don't have to go ad nauseum, but the significant criminal history that he has.
When were the FTAs? How long ago?
The most recent failure to appears, one moment, Judge. There's one from May 4th, 2023. There's one from December 7th, 2023. There's one from.
But it's not on this case, though. Those are separate cases. We're not talking about on this case. are
Oh,
we?
to be clear, it's not on this case, but.
Obviously not on this case. But the problem is that it keeps happening, and I can't continue to.
Sir, it's not keep happening, sir. Sir, this he said, sir, I'm gonna be honest with you. Another open case. And that open case is why I flew back down there, went to court, finished court. They said I have a warrant. I go to the warrant district. They said I have no warrant. Leave the warrant district, get on the plane to fly back up here. And they said I had a warrant before I even flew on the plane back down there. So how could I fly?
Mr. Jones, even if I were to set you a bond.
Okay, no problem. Hey, take me back there, man. I can't about this shit, man.
Who's Junior? And you.
Two young defendants face serious charges after allegedly evading police arrest during an incident at a local church. Will their explanation be enough to convince the judge? Stay tuned for the surprising final verdict.
Or the third. Gentlemen, both of you are charged with evading arrest or detention. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, will be appointed to you.
On February 20th, 2025, officer dispatched the First Baptist Church. A caller stated that a white pickup truck parked behind the Baptist Church and two Hispanic males exited the truck and were walking around the property. The officer arrived on scene and one of the ground level windows opened and a window air conditioner unit pushed in on the inside of the building. The officers then observed two Hispanic males exit the doors on the west side of the building. The defendants then turn and look at the officers and then run in the opposite direction for approximately 30 yards to C Street, run an additional 20 yards to First Street, and then turn and run an additional 30 to 40 yards. Due to the circumstances of the incidents indicating this possible burglary progress, with fleeing suspects who could have been armed, the officers drew their duty pistol and gave defendant Love Jr. several commands to get on the ground and allow him time to comply. He disregarded the command, so the officer took defendant Love Jr. to the ground. Defendant Love III ran around the building and then subsequently followed commands to lay on the ground. They were both contained. Defendant Love Jr. stated that they panicked, so they ran. The officer stated, "You looked right at me and knew I was a cop, but you still ran," to which the defendant stated, "I know, bro, it wasn't the right thing to do, sir."
Your Honor.
They look at the cop and they run.
Yes, Your Honor.
Cops never tell them to stop. And are they doing wrong? I guess, I mean, what is this, Minority Report? You know what I mean? Guys, be careful. You know what I mean? How old are you, sir?
18.
You gotta be careful, man. When you start racking up convictions, doesn't get easier, man. It gets so much more difficult. And the more convictions you rack up, you're only 18, man. Life doesn't get easier. You get bigger, fatter, you lose hair. It doesn't get easier. And the more convictions you get, the worse you make life. Life all about money. And if you have money, then life is great. And you only get it with one thing. This or this. Hard work or knowledge. Going around picking up cases, that's not the right way. Don't pollute. Do you understand?
Sir.
I'm going to find no probable cause on both of your cases.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Take a seat.
Yes, Your Honor. So yesterday, I believe you gave him a $5,000 bond. He picked up a new offense for violating bond conditions. Your Honor, it turns out that the facts are that he had stayed away. The woman who he was in this issue with, her house caught on fire, burned to the ground. She called him asking for assistance. He said, "Hey, I don't know. I don't think I can be talking to you." And then 2 days later, she got into a car accident where her vehicle was totaled. And she said, "Please, I have nowhere to go. Can you help?" He said, "Look, I'll help you find some place to go and I'll drive you there." And that's it. In the midst of driving her there, he was pulled over for no registration.
Calls Murphy's Law is what it's
Yeah, and
called.
she said, "I've got bad juju." The state confirmed all this.
Yes, Judge, so
Bring him out. Avalar.
the prosecutor on the case did call the complainant. She pretty much gave nearly the exact same story of her apartment burned down. She was just trying to get a ride. They have not had contact up until this point. So we are not ready to offer a plea today because it is a new case.
Sure.
But we are okay with the PR bond at this point, just given the circumstances and the facts.
What do we do about conditions?
Conditions, we would still like to keep that no contact in place. It seems like they didn't have an issue up until this point with it. So we would just reinstate that no contact.
I will ask for a short reset, Your Honor, but from speaking with the CW, she communicated to me that the whole thing was a misunderstanding. She feels safe around him, and honestly, she'd like for them to be able to have contact. The way she communicated to me, the initial situation was they were arguing, a police officer was coming by, so she flagged him down so she could stay away from him. And then while talking to the officer, she showed him, like, look at this message. He said he's going to do this to me. But that's in the course of how they normally communicate to each other. She didn't feel afraid. The officer just took it to that next
How about
step.
the assault we talking? Happened in the assault.
So, Judge, I believe the case for us right now is a terroristic threat. So we're just looking at the terroristic threat charge.
A jail. It sucks, right? It's supposed to suck. That's what happens when you don't do what you're supposed to do. You can't do stuff on your own and think that good things are going to happen. It's what I was telling your lawyer. It's called Murphy's Law. What will happen? I get that you may be trying to help someone, but there's a court order. And when you don't follow them, bad things happen. And that's why I'm saying, I mean, maybe it's divine intervention that like you get pulled over right on the day that you're trying to do this. So really, now both of them are in agreement for you to get a PR bond because really it's not a capital case, but you have to understand things are court orders and they're still there. If you want them taken off, if you want to do something different, you have a lawyer and you ask a lawyer to help you out, but you just can't do stuff on your own and expect good things to happen. Now, state is still asking for you not to have contact with this person and as of right now. So I'm going to give you a PR bond now because they're both in agreement. I'm telling you now, you do this again, you will not get another one. I promise you on everything that's holy. Do you understand? If you want something, ask. We can always address it. We can always fix it. Just don't do stuff on your own. That's when it goes sideways.
Sir.
Do you have any questions? So I'll grant you a PR bond. We need it on both cases, I think, right? So do you mind filing a new no contact order now? No weapons, no contact. Don't for the moment. Perhaps time will heal all wounds. Perhaps after some time, You know, after she speaks to the complaining witness, things can change. Just don't do it again. All right?
Judge, I believe there is a order for emergency protection in your queue. It was filed the 30th, so it should be in there. Do you want me to file another one?
It's 255-1405. That's the initial terroristic threat.
Yes, there was a protection order signed on February 13th.
And then
You okay with that?
he's made vulnerable.
Okay, done.
Made vulnerable BPO already.
Oh, right. So we'll just leave, and I didn't do anything to the VPO. So we'll just give a PR bond on the terroristic threat.
Reinstate the PR one.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
And just a reinstatement on the.
Whatever's easier. Yeah. Are we good? Okay.
Thank you.
So hold on, let me take, okay, we're good. All right.
She had support one.
Oh,
It was
that's right.
a transfer with the Mendoza one. So they just sent her over here to,
So there's a co-defendant in this case.
yes, Judge Mendoza, he's here too, but we're waiting on counsel for that. And she said she was gonna ask for the appointment.
A traffic stop for an expired registration resulted in the discovery of marijuana and a handgun in a young woman's car. How will the judge rule, and what lessons will be learned from this hearing?
Ms. Vargas, you're charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon. You are facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, ma'am.
Yes, Your Honor. On February 21st, 2025, at around midnight, officers in Harris County, Texas were patrolling Greens Point Drive when they observed a truck with expired registration from December of 2024. A traffic stop was conducted. Upon approach, the officer detected a strong odor of marijuana from the vehicle. After the defendant was removed from the front seat and detained, a search revealed a marijuana cigar and a cigar magazine under the driver's seat. The officers located a black Taurus pistol with a loaded magazine and a purse behind the driver's seat. After being Mirandized, the defendant claimed that the pistol belonged to her friend's boyfriend and admitted that the purse was hers. Additional marijuana was found in a yellow backwoods container in the center console.
Was the gun found in her purse, near the purse? Because,
Yes, the pistol was found inside her purse behind the driver's seat.
okay. All right, Ms. Mendoza, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. How old are you, ma'am?
18.
I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to test you. If I find that you're using, it's not going to go well. Do you understand? I'm also ordering you as a condition of your bond not to be in possession of weapons. If I find that you have a weapon, likewise, I will revoke your bond, put you in jail. No more PR bonds, ma'am.
Judge, could I get the calls number one more time?
255-2544. Do you have the ability to hire a lawyer, ma'am? Do you work? What do you do? Did you graduate from high school? We're going to work on that as well. I will give you a lawyer today, okay? I need you to fill out an application, so Deputy Miranda is going to give you an application. I need you to fill it out for me. I'll have you talk to a lawyer here momentarily, but all I want are my streets to be safe. If I find that you pick up a new case, if I find that you're a danger, you break these conditions, it's really not going to go well for you. Do you understand? This is the only warning that you're going to get, so heed it well. Come on.
Record flag.